We're live at Creekbottom Music House Concerts. Please welcome Daniel Boling.
Thank you, folks. If you sat upon that sofa now till all the springs have sprung, watched so damn much football, heard so many anthems sung, started thinking all your strings are just about to come unstrung, you might be right. Start tonight. Get a life, get your butt in gear, get out and hit the bricks. Get a life, start today and stay away from politics. John Prine said, blow up your TV, try to get to know your wife. Rediscover that you love her, get a life. There's a tangled field of lazy bones you've got to get across, and you're about to let that lazy boy become your albatross. You've been sitting still too long, my friend, that's not a rash, that's moss, you know that's right. Start tonight, get a life, you're full grown, give your own damn butt a kick. Get a life, we're in clover, but it's over awful quick. A.P. Carter said we're gonna meet with darkness and with strife, so keep on the side that's sunny, get a life. You can't be a rolling stone if you're not rolling. The more things change, the more you stay the same. The world is making hay while you're out bowling. You'll never win if you don't get in the game. Get a life, get outside, catch your stride, clear your head. Get a life, we'll have lots of time for loafing when we're dead. John Prine said, in spite of ourselves, we're the big door prize. We'll spite the noses off our faces, get a life. We'll spite the noses off our faces, get a life. Thank you. Who was at the concert I did on Friday night in the St. Francis Auditorium with Tom Paxton? Anybody? Oh, good. Several of you. So that's one of the songs that Tom and I have written together recently. We did a whole album together last summer, and while he was here, we got him in the kitchen sink studio with Jono Manson and recorded all of Tom's vocals for our next album of co-writes. So. And for anybody, surely there's not anybody, but anybody who doesn't remember who Tom Paxton is, he wrote things like, there's a lesson too late for the learning, made of sand, made of sand. In the wink of an eye, my soul is turning in your hand, in your hand. Are you going away with no word of farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind? I could have loved you better, didn't mean to be unkind. You know that was the last thing on my mind. It's been sung all over the world. It's been recorded by about 200 different artists. But he wrote things like, here's to you, my rambling boy. May all your rambling bring you joy. Lots of songs that sometimes folks aren't sure who wrote them. A lot of them they think are public domain, and you'll hear them around every campfire circle at every folk festival. They're not public domain. Tom is still alive, by God, and they're his songs. But he loves to tell about Bottle of Wine. He says, everyone in France knows the song Bottle of Wine. They think it is a French folk song. He says, it's not, it's my French folk song. Anyhow, it's been just such a thrill to become friends with Tom and get to write with him. And a number of the songs I'm doing tonight are off that album we did last summer or off the one that we're going to put out here pretty soon. as well as a few of mine that predate my relationship with Tom. This one is one that we put on that recent album. What did you do in the missing years? How did you pass the time? Well, I tried TV, nothing on. Alex Trebek was pretty much gone. I sat around drinking wine. I had this bookcase in my house filled with classic tomes. If ever I'd find the time, I said, I could wind up pretty well read in novels, plays, and poems. Stood in line and got my shots, avoided busy public spots, stayed home every chance I got, and wore my mask to bed. Tarot cards and casting lots, shady deals and crooked plots, old acquaintances forgot, not a lot got read. We're not through with the missing years, and we might never be. Everybody works from home, spends way too much time alone, or maybe that's just me. There's no such thing as the good old days, there never really was. Right and left refuse to mix, practice dirty politics just like the other guy does. Stood in line and got my shots, avoided busy public spots, stayed home every chance I got, wore my mask to bed. Tarot cards and casting lots, shady deals and crooked plots, old acquaintances forgot, and not a word was said. We won't forget the missing years, the heroes and the volunteers. We overcame our gravest fears, but we'll remember when we all mourned those missing lives. Who's gone now and who survives? We're grateful each new day arrives, the sun comes up again. We're grateful each new day arrives, the sun comes up again. So I was raised on Tom's songs. My mama was an amateur folk singer, and Tom was one of the first people that I ever realized was actually writing songs. I thought all those songs just existed. I was little. I was singing harmonies before I was speaking in full sentences, I'm told. And Tom's songs meant a great deal to me. I never thought I'd get to meet the man. Lo and behold, here about 6 decades later, we're friends and we're writing together, and we just did a couple New Mexico concerts. I can't believe it. But here's the very first song we ever wrote together. Tom loves it so much he started putting it in his solo shows. And, you know, when you've got a catalog like Tom's, if you're going to put something in, you got to take something out that people were planning to hear. So this has got a sing-along part for you. You'll figure it out. You can sing with me, or you can call and respond, or you can do both. I don't care. As long as we're in relatively the same key, it's all good. But the chorus goes like this. Old friends last forever. That's it. One of us ought to know the song. Old friends don't fade away. Old friends last forever. Old friends don't fade away. I know this song really. Anyhow, that's the chorus. When it comes around, please jump in. Red and I go way back to the start of 2nd grade. We met in the schoolyard where all the games are played. I was it and I tagged him. Guess I tagged too hard, 'cause he slugged me and there we were, rolling around the yard. But you know we got over that, I don't remember how. And we became the best of friends, that's all that matters now. Red's the only one still here of all my childhood friends. One by one they pass away, every good thing ends. Old friends last forever, last forever. Old friends don't fade away. Old friends last forever. Old friends don't fade away. Red and I played baseball. We sang tenor in the choir. We dated two Smith sisters, living high but aiming higher. We were like two brothers, and then one awful day, the draft board called his number, and the war took Red away. And Red came back from Vietnam a completely different man, 'cause he'd see things he didn't think I'd ever understand. And for a couple years we seemed to go our separate ways, and then one tearful, beerful night we remembered better days. Old friends last forever. Old friends don't fade away. Old friends last forever. Old friends don't fade away. Well, Red's been sinking slowly. We're not young men anymore. Memories seem sweeter than they ever did before. We're back there on that playground. We both remember when I touch him on the arm and whisper, "Tag, you're it again, old friend. Last forever. Old friend, don't fade away. Old friends last forever. Old friends don't fade away." Oh, that sounded nice with the singing. Thank you for doing that. The Bradford pear. Anybody know about that awful tree? I am badly allergic to it. And the hotel where we stayed when I came up to sing with Tom, all of its landscaping is Bradford pear. So if I appear to be using my voice carefully tonight, there's a reason for that. I did not have a voice 24 hours ago, so I'm hoping for the best here. Let's see if I can get through this one. This is another one with Tom. He had this old joke that he wanted to turn into a song, and what we do is we get together on Zoom once a week if we're both available. Tom discovered Zoom during the pandemic. He says, "I love it. We're in the same room." He lives out in Virginia, and I get with him from here or in the van, wherever we are on the road. So we started writing this song, and we spent about half an hour on it. Tom said, "Nah, this isn't going to work. We can't sustain the joke." I said, "Okay." We started working on something else, and I did some more work on it and brought it back the next week and said, I think we can. We just won't tell it till the end." He said, "This works." So I had this old Ford pickup. She was everything to me. Driven her for so long, she was just like family. Only had one problem with my motorized antique. No matter what I tried, she had a radiator leak, and she burned gas gas so fast, filling up was like a stick-up. My wife called her my hick pickup. My son got so embarrassed when I'd drop him off at school. Wished his daddy had a more impressive motor pool. Figured my old Ford would be a source of ridicule. Ah, but then he met a girl who thought that hickmobile was cool. And she burned gas so fast, filling up was like a stick-up. My wife called her my hick pickup. Hay fever does terrible things to your fingers. But she probably leaked since she rolled off that Ford assembly line. Left a stream of coolant splattered down the center line. Till one day I filled her radiator with moonshine. It gave that truck the hiccups, but cured the leak just fine. Now she burns gas so fast, filling up is like a stick-up. Now we call her my hiccup pickup. She burns gas so fast, filling up is like a stick-up. Now we call her my hiccup pickup. I usually can yodel, but not today.
We never gave Tom a ride in your 1949.
No, we didn't. I don't know if he'll be back out this way, but so here's kind of the song I introduced myself to Tom with, because we'd met a couple times over the years, but I found out he was going to be hosting a songwriting retreat up in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. They were going to take 20 people, and I thought, well, I'm sure I'm booked somewhere. I won't be able to go to that. And I was up hiking in the mountains changing batteries in my critter cams. I keep a string of video cameras up in the Sandia wilderness. And I suddenly realized, no, there's been a pandemic on. I'm not booked anywhere. I could go to that, and I come basically running down the mountain trying to get to a computer. And I signed up for that workshop, and I got my receipt back. It was number 20. Skin of my teeth. But I got up there, and we had a couple chances to, everybody in the class had a couple chances to do a song for Tom, and I picked this one, and I'm glad I did, because he, after that one, and then towards the end of the weekend, he'd heard a couple more songs, and he pulled me aside and said, let's do some writing together. So. My daddy grew up deep in Appalachia, in the hollers where the mountain laurel blooms. Crystal water springs, speckled wood thrush sings. Dogwood lends the air her sweet perfume. Dogwood lends the air her sweet perfume. Well, the mountains once stood tall in Appalachia, streams running cool down their sides. A boy could hunt and fish as free as he could wish, and the water wouldn't poison his inside. The water wouldn't poison his inside. But the coal barons came to Appalachia, caring only for the money they could make. For coal deep underground, now they tear the mountains down. Give so little in return for what they take, so little in return for what they take. Jobs ain't ever coming back to Appalachia. People tell you coal is clean, that's a lie. There's no living for a man. Get the hell out if you can. This is just a place you wait around to die. Just a place you wait around to die. 'Cause you can't drink the water now in Appalachia. And you can't eat the twisted fish that still survive. Lord, I wish that I could see how Kentucky used to be. When my daddy and his mountains were alive. My daddy and his mountains were alive. Thank you. Now, I guess it's about 5 years ago now, I was invited to join a trio that has been going in the United States since I was 1 year old. Started by Alex Hasselev and Lou Gottlieb and Glenn Yarborough. They called themselves the Limelighters. And so I've been with the Limelighters now for the last 5 years. And since all three of us who are in that band now are songwriters, we're slowly easing some of our material into the Limelighters' repertoire, and I want to sing you one that of mine that they're using. I particularly wanted to do a Limelighters song tonight, and I can't do you a three-part harmony, so I can't do any of the old Limelighters songs. So I'm going to do this one of mine that I wrote long before I was a Limelighter. The last original member of the trio, Alex Hasselev, died about 5 o'clock this morning. But he was well into his 90s and hadn't been well enough to perform with us for quite a few years. But he was a dear man and a great talent. And I'm delighted to be able to carry on some of that tradition with Andy Corwin and Steve Brooks, my partners in Lime these days. This is one of mine that they have elected to use. My daddy used to live in Aztec, New Mexico, fairly small town, and his Parkinson's got to the point where he couldn't manage on his own anymore, and we had to help move him out to Indiana. But what that meant was taking apart the family house and figuring out what to do with all that stuff. I'm looking around at the general age category. You know what I'm talking about. Here's how it went for our family. As soon as I remember it. What's that? Yeah, that is it. It's nice to travel with your music enabler. Even when you don't know the lyrics, she does. Sleeves rolled up, work gloves on, a dust mask on my face. It's time to sort and pack and load and ship my papa's place. Chunks of chain, hunks of board, a couple dozen scriptures of the Lord, things we can't, things we must, under 40 years of dust. Chest waders with the feet cut off, hanging on the wall of my dad's garage. I don't know what he kept them for, but I'm pretty sure he never wore those chest waders with the feet cut off, unless maybe he lost his mind. But when somebody goes through things of mine, no telling just what they'll find. That throne-shaped toilet paper holder really reeks of class. A Victorian era serving tray with dead moths under glass. What to keep, what to throw, who the heck is ever gonna know? What we pitch, what we save, take that secret to my grave. Grandpa wired with these pliers. I'll keep them for sure. And this pistol, mama's daddy carried in the war. But what to do with all this stuff? Every house already has enough. Give a bunch of things away and pity our own kids someday. There's chest waders with the feet cut off, hanging on the wall of my dad's garage. I don't know what he kept them for, but I'm pretty sure he never wore those chest waders with the feet cut off, lest maybe he lost his mind. But when somebody goes through things of mine, no telling just what they'll find. 'Cause I've got pay stubs clear back to the 60s, blue jeans that no longer fit me, bags of rusty used guitar strings, projects left undone, fallout from a jack of all trades, and junk that hasn't budged in decades. In my mind the choir sings, you are your father's son.
Every item in that song is still in our house except
Yes, pack rats aren't born, they're made.
I'm not a pack rat, I'm a collector.
A collector, exactly. Let's see if this thing's doing something. I want to borrow a song from another songwriting hero of mine, Tim Henderson. Tim's been gone for about 10 years now, but he was one of America's great ballad writers. He's got ballads that would just tear your heart out. I'm not going to do one of those. I'm going to do Tim's ode to the much maligned and misunderstood art of sexing chickens. My cousin Hester is a baby chick sexer. Nobody knows how she knows what she knows. Show her 10,000 chicks, there's not one'll perplex her. And nobody knows how she knows what she knows. She can sex 'em by day, she can sex 'em by night. Little hens on the left, little cocks on the right. Just wait 90 days, you'll find out she was right. And nobody knows, nobody knows, nobody knows. Nobody knows how she knows what she knows. Nobody knows how she knows, but she knows. And her mother, Rose Pfister, my own mother's sister, says nobody knows how she knows what she knows. Telling each little chick miss from each little chick mister. And nobody knows how she knows what she knows. Folks don't want cocks that crow, they want hens that lay eggs. And you can't tell a whole lot just by spreading their legs. And Hester won't tell, though you plead and you beg. So nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows how she knows what she knows. Nobody knows how she knows, but she knows. And her father, old Cotter, he says of his daughter, nobody knows how she knows what she knows. She knows thousands of things there's no way she should oughter. And nobody knows how she knows what she knows. She's the best chicken sexer for hundreds of miles. But I fear there's more witchcraft than knowledge in her guiles. And Hester just smiles, that inscrutable smile, and won't say how she knows. Nobody knows, so nobody knows. Nobody knows how she knows what she knows. Nobody knows how she knows, but she knows. Exactly. Tim Henderson. Apparently the story on that, Tim was up for some award and so was Guy Clark. And they were both back in the green room in their tuxedos waiting, and there was a steady stream of people coming in the door to talk with Guy Clark and, bring him the recreational drug of the day. And they'd get about 2 steps into the room and they'd look over there in the corner and they'd say, "Is that Tim Henderson?" And Guy'd say, "Yeah, it's Tim." And they'd go over and visit with Tim. After this happened 3 or 4 times, Guy was beginning to get annoyed. And the next person that walked in and said, "Is that Tim Henderson?" He said, "Yes, it's Tim Henderson. He's not really sure why he's here. It's like chicken sexing. Nobody knows." And Marion tells the story that the next morning she heard Tim in the shower, cackling. She said, "Tim, are you okay?" He said, "Oh, yeah, I'm just writing a song." So there it is. Okay, pipes, hold out. There's no place like home. That's the way the story goes. And you can't get there from here, as far as anybody knows. It's each man for himself. Devil take those with the least, skipping hand in hand to hell, through the belly of the beast. Dorothy's getting so much older, she wouldn't recognize the land of Oz today. That dreary Kansas prairie couldn't hold her. She had dreams only her nightmares could betray. If I only had the heart, if I only had the brain, if I could pluck my courage up and take the chance. Expect no invitation, accept no condemnation. Tug those ruby slippers on and try to dance. Where do we go now? Are we who we thought we'd be? You still look like you most days. I still feel like me. Have we really been on our own here all along? We stayed on those yellow bricks. So tell me what the hell went wrong? Dorothy is getting so much older. So many things have changed in all these years. Thought she'd do all right, just like the wizard told her. But who among us outgrows all our childhood fears? When the emeralds all turn plastic and the tin's all gone to rust, we've given up on Glinda coming back to rescue us. When you're the only one left I can trust. If I only have the brain, heart, if I only have the brain, there we go. If I can pluck my courage up and take the chance. Expect no invitation, accept no condemnation. Tug these ruby slippers on and try to dance. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? Thank you. So I mentioned Uncle Dan's Critter Cam. If you go to danielboling.com, there's cards over there, and click on the tab that says Uncle Dan's Critter Cam, you will see highlights of what the animals are up to in the Sandia Mountains when we're not around. I've been amazed by the things that my cameras catch. It's really quite stunning. In fact, I've got to get up there next week and check them because I haven't been up in over a month. And the bears should be out of their pajamas by now. Yeah. But sometimes it's a pretty smooth operation. I hike up there, I change the batteries, I change the data cards, and I come back down. Sometimes it's not quite so smooth an operation. And I had just had a rather harrowing adventure up there, and I told Tom about it. I'd already gotten a start on the song, and he said, "Oh, we're definitely finishing that one." I was hiking the Sandias on a bright October day, hauling out some old barbed wire, overdue to throw away. As I hiked, I started humming an old Kingston Trio song. I was fat and dumb and happy, thinking nothing could go wrong. I had my can of bear spray, any prudent hiker would. And you know, I've often wondered if this stuff is any good. I don't know how it happened, if I tripped or fell or what, but I went tail over teacups and came down on my butt. And my arm wound up in a crevice and I heard a hissing sound, and felt an odd vibration as I scrambled from the ground. I figured I was snake bit, then I did a double take. It was a punctured can of bear spray, not an angry rattlesnake. You know they call this darn stuff bear spray 'cause bears can barely stand it, and hikers tote it with them. That's why they went and canned it. It's filled with chili peppers that you might like in your chow, but in your eyes and lungs, well, they're a bit less fun somehow. There was bear spray on my flannel shirt and bear spray on my pants. On your naked skin, you know this stuff will make you dance. I commenced disrobing quickly right there on the trail and staggered down the hill like some demented Chippendale. I drove my truck home praying that the cops were not around, 'cause I'd play hob explaining this strange stripper that they'd found. A fool half blind from bear spray in a beat-up antique truck, and the other cops would tease him, "Joe, don't you have all the luck?" So remember, if you're hiking under dale and over hill, Murphy's Law's alive and well, boys. If it can go wrong, it will. You can never be too careful. Take this tip from Ranger Dan. Keep your backside off the barbed wire and your bear spray in the can. Folks, let's take a little break here, and what do you got back there?
Well, there's some people who are chatting here. We currently have 26 people somewhere,
Watching online. Oh, very cool.
and so some folks have sent you some greetings.
Oh, how lovely. I would love to hear them.
Mark Clark,
Sure.
okay? What a treat.
Oh, lovely.
Evelyn Taylor.
Yes, the banded geckos.
The geckos wish we were there, but like the song, we are honoring an old friend. Have a great gig.
Ah, lovely. Thank you.
It's got all kinds of fun stuff.
Banded geckos, if you haven't seen them, go see them.
Oh, yeah.
They're based right here in Santa Fe.
Mark Clark's back again.
Okay,
Joy is at a rehearsal, but I'm happy to be here.
lovely.
Sybil White says, old friends, love it, and it's so true.
Very good. Down in Texas. I'm sorry? Marion Henderson, Tim Henderson's widow.
So happy to hear your extraordinary songs, Daniel, and a few you are writing with the great Tom Paxton. All wonderful.
Oh, lovely. And she was in the audience the first time I ever played Tim's chicken sexing song. And she had her face in her hands. She said, "I didn't know he ever recorded it." I said, "Only at the house concert in my living room, which I bootlegged, so I could learn the song."
Yep. Stan Zider says, great song.
Lovely.
Greg Morton says, hello from Greg Morton.
2 G's.
Diane Phelan Muller
Sure.
says, wonderful songs as always. And she
Very nice to you. Excellent. Well, I'm so glad people are watching online. I'm very glad you folks came here. I always have the shakes pretty much out of the way by the second set, and I save the best songs for the second set too. So please grab a snack and stick around, and we'll do this here again in about, 15 minutes? 15, 20 minutes. When there's no longer a line for the loo, we will reconvene. I did bring a couple albums with me. I've got the new one that Tom and I did last August, which made it all the way up to number 4 on the folk charts in the USA and North America, and number 5 in Europe. So all 600 people who listen to folk radio are listening to that one. I've also got the last one that I did solo, which was at the studio here in town. So it's called Live at the Kitchen Sink. The Kitchen Sink studio is a wonderful place. Jono Manson holds forth over there. And they did for me the favor of bringing in a house concert of about half again this many folks into their big tracking room. And we just recorded a live house concert. And then we did it again that evening, so I'd have a parts car in case I really clammed something. And we put that out as an album. And then there's one more over there, which is the newest album from the Limelighters that we put out. That's half of it is old Limelighters repertoire, of course, being done by the 3 current Limelighters, and the other half of it is songs that one or more of the 3 of us wrote that we have Limelighterized. So you may enjoy that. Any record is $20, and there's a mailing list if you'd like to know where to find me.
And on that Uncle Dan's Critter Cam thing on his website, it includes a music video of.
Oh, yes. I did make a video of bear spray and barbed wire, and it's a lot of fun. It features. What's that?
Is there a video?
There is a video to go with it. Yes. I don't sell one, no, but you can look up bear spray and barbed wire and my name on YouTube. It'll come right up, and it's a little embarrassing, but it's a good video. All right, we'll see y'all about straight up 4. Let's do it. You're very welcome. Okay. What the heck was I going to sing? I'm going to kick this off with a Jono Manson song. Jono Manson is a very prolific songwriter, wonderful performer. He's also a tremendous engineer and producer. And he's produced, I think, my last 4 solo albums of my 9, and the one last year with Tom, and the one that's coming out with Tom, and the new Limelighters record there too, because I don't want to work with anybody else. He's just so good. Oh, and there's a new one of mine that's already in the can and we haven't released too. Yeah. Anyhow, this is a Jono song that I fell in love with the first time I heard it, and he's done me the great courtesy ever since of, if I'm in one of his shows, he immediately changes his set list to put this song in and dedicates it to me. I do it a little bit different than Jono because he does it by himself, and I do it as a call and response with the audience. Late last night, about the break of day, a neighbor's cat got carried away. Neighbor's cat got carried away. A great horned owl came swooping down, picked her off, she never made a sound. Okay, now I'm on my own until you can tell it's a really obvious place. Well, that may sound tragic, but it makes me smile to see a bird get a cat every once in a while. Every once in a while, every once in a while. tables turn, you get across that bridge before it burns. I wish I may, I wish I might have a second chance to get it right. There's a factory on the edge of town. The workers stood up and they shut it down for a safer line and decent pay. They went on strike and walked away till the man came down with papers in his hands. Granted every one of their demands. Granted each and every one of their demands. Every once in a while, the tables turn. You get across that bridge before it burns. I wish I may, I wish I might have a second chance to get it, set it right. Do not tell Jono I messed up his song. There's a planet spinning through outer space with wounds and scars all over her face, made by men who'll never understand. They do not own this sacred land. One of these days when she's had enough, the water's gonna rise and swallow them up. The water's gonna rise and swallow us up. Every once in a while, the tables turn. You get across that bridge before it burns. I wish I may, I wish I might have a second chance to set it right. Don't tell Jono. Yeah, probably is. No, Jono works 7 days a week. He'd love to come to a concert, but he'd have to fit it in. That's true. It's going to be up there, isn't it? Oh, my God. This is...
Currently, there are 26 people.
Clean up your act, Daniel. This is being recorded for posterity.
Somebody just asked to run the Venmo credit again.
Lovely. How sweet of them. Wish I knew how this song went. I got it. Now I've got it. So when Tom and I are writing, once in a long while, I won't have any ideas and Tom will just come up with something on the spur of the moment, which is amazing, but he's been doing this for a long time. This particular time, I had this song halfway written because the second verse is the story of how Tom and his lovely wife, Midge, who's been gone for 10 years now, how they met. And as soon as I sang that little snippet for him, he said, "We're writing this one." We've all heard it said, when it's all said and done, out of all the wide world, there's bound to be one. All my defenses completely undone. How did you know it was me? Some other fella brought you to the dance. The moment I met you, that boy stood no chance. I knew it was you from your very first glance. But how did you know it was me? I've never been noted for beauty or charm, but the world likes me better with you on my arm. with one quiet kiss, I'm completely disarmed. How did you know it was me? You knew all about me in a moment or two. Now I want a lifetime to learn about you. My future was clear and I suddenly knew. But how did you know it was me? You bring me your happiness, you let me be the person I'm trying so hard to set free. You seem to see something the world doesn't see. That's how you knew it was me. You say you see plenty the world doesn't see. That's how you knew it was me. And I used to write a couple of good keeper songs a year. You know, in my most prolific phase, maybe half a dozen in a year. Tom and I have only been writing together for not quite 2 years yet, and we've written 45 songs together. So he's just got that effect. I'd love to say I'm the only person he's writing with, but it's not true. He's a busy man. He writes with, I think, at least a half a dozen people every week if he can do it. He loves Zoom. He said, we're in the same room. But this is one of those song ideas that I got, and it wouldn't let go of me. And Tom and I were off for a couple of weeks. He was traveling, or I was traveling, or both. And so I just couldn't not write it. So I went ahead and wrote the song, and then on our next call I said, Tom, I must apologize to you because I had this idea that I just fell in love with, and I really wanted to write it with you, but it's too late, I already wrote it. He says, well, let me hear it. And I played it for him, and to my eternal delight, he said I would not change a note. So. A little boy's letter, handwritten by me. Sick and tired of being the youngest of three, and love at the end was all you could see. Dear Mama, I hate you. Love, Dan. You knew as I grew some I'd probably find. The greatest part of me was gentle and kind. Thank heaven for mothers whose love's truly blind. Dear Mama, I hate you. Love, Dan. Dear Mama, I hate you. Love, Dan. You sure love the boy. I know you'd love the man. Thank you for making me all that I am. Dear Mama, I hate you. Love, Dan. I wish I could recall what you said when you said it. I know I was sorry the moment you read it. Like so many things in my life, I regret it. Dear Mama, I hate you. Love, Dan. I could sure use a few of your wise words to quote. How you tenderly handled my heartbreaking note. 'Cause I'm holding a letter our youngest just wrote. Dear Daddy, I hate you, love Sam. Dear Daddy, I hate you, love Sam. How to help a sweet boy grow into a fine man. You know we're all doing the best that we can. Dear Mama, I hate you, love Dan. Dear Daddy, I hate you, love Sam. Dear Mama, I love you, love Dan. Of the one we've recorded but haven't released yet, that's right. Oh, that was all set up for this song and I just messed it up. Let's see. I tried to phone my daddy, had the number halfway dialed. Seemed like I felt him pat my shoulder, and I turned around and smiled. Thought about the 1,000 times I'd call him up and say, hello, Papa. What'd you do today? Well, I think he'd be proud of me and how much I'm like him. But I reckon he's with Mama and they're happy once again. He tried hard to keep on living, but you know he had to pine. 20 years alone must seem the longest time. How do we go on without the people that we love? One foot after the other, no, they always wait for us. Face tomorrow, come tomorrow, slip the yoke of yesterday. All that matters is what you do today. My wife and I are getting older now. Our kids are grown and gone. We wish they always could be with us for this journey that we're on. They have their own lives, and it thrills me when one calls me up to say, hello, Papa. What'd you do today? How do we go on without the people that we love? One foot after the other, no, they always wait for us. Face tomorrow, come tomorrow, slip the yoke of yesterday. All that matters is what you do today. All that matters is what you do today. I tried to phone my daddy, had the number halfway dialed. Seemed like I felt him pat my shoulder, and I turned around and smiled. Hello, Papa. That'll be on the new Love Dan album that's coming out soon. At this point, I don't know when to release what. And I'm not convinced that it matters anymore either. Some people release their albums one song at a time on the internet. And, I figure my audience tends to be more mature, shall we say. Many of them still own CD players, so I'm going to keep making records that way until I can't sell them anymore. Oh, I'm awfully glad I didn't try that a step up, because it's too high in its organic key. If we let machines do our thinking for us, next they'll do our drinking for us. They'll start writing their own songs. They'll open up that damn thesaurus, write every word of the stinking chorus. What could possibly go wrong? Your turn. What could possibly go wrong? It's a fine line and it's awful porous. Pretty soon they'll just ignore us. We'll get trampled by the throng. Put their own wants and needs before us, lots of them, soon no more us. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? They're just machines they can't create. They shuffle and regurgitate. Trust AI and you put your fate in the hands of something with no hands. If it can go wrong, you can bet it will. It's all just great, right up until the wheels come off flying down the hill and we're giving into their demands. I don't care much for what they're thinking. Feel my intellect keep shrinking. I can tell I don't belong. It's a happening and the red light's blinking. Guess it takes a while to sink in. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? Looks like AI's taking over. We'll just be their good dog, Rover. Fetch the ball and play along. High-tech guys are in high clover. They're all doing the bossa nova. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? They're just machines they can't create. They shuffle and regurgitate. Trust AI and you put your fate in the hands of something with no hands. If it can go wrong, you can bet it will. It's all just great, right up until the wheels come off flying down the hill and we're giving into their demands. I'm all for progress, that's for sure, but what I think I mean, you bet it's artificial. Intelligence remains to be seen. I tried to get Tom to sing that one in the concerts. He said, I love the song, way too many words for me to wrap my tongue around these days. Several of you were at the concert at St. Francis, right? God, that was fun. Tom is a real role model at 86. He's still out there writing and singing and playing. He says, I may not be able to perform forever, but I will certainly write as long as my mind, is as active. And I hope that's a good long time yet. This is one that was one of Tom's ideas, and we went with it, and I like it. It's a little out of character for some of the other stuff that we write, but reviews on the album, half a dozen of them have singled out this song as one of the ones they like the best, so I wish I knew how it goes. Keep your eyes on the quiet ones, the ones who have their eyes on you. You know they are missing nothing. You know that what they see is true. Let the silly asses bray. The quiet ones have more to say. Keep your counsel when the loud boys come. the harshest voices in the crowd, the ones who rail and beat their drum, so little reason to be proud. Let the silly asses bray, the quiet ones have more to say. It's the quiet ones who listen, the quiet ones who hear. It's the quiet ones you count on when the big shots disappear. Let me keep my big mouth shut until I know what I mean to say. It's harder, but I tell you what, I learn a whole lot more that way. Let the silly asses bray, the quiet ones have more to say. Yelling people, barking dogs, the more they shout, the less we hear. Talking heads and demagogues, so much less than they appear. Let the silly asses bray, the quiet ones have more to say. It's the quiet ones who listen, the quiet ones who hear. It's the quiet ones you count on when the big shots disappear. Keep your eyes on the quiet ones, the ones who have their eyes on you. You know they are missing nothing. You know that what they see is true. Let the silly asses bray, the quiet ones have more to say. Thank you. I'm glad you like that too. This one, Tom and I had gotten it started. This is another start from Tom. Now I took it away, and before we met the next time, I had written a bunch more of the song, and I put in a number of references to some of Tom's early songs. And there's one in there that said, cut Woody's trail a bunch of times and met Tom's ramblin' boy. And I sang that for Tom. I said, whoa. I said, is that one too many bridges? He said, oh, yeah. Yeah, he says, we got to change that. So we changed the line. And I think I know what was going on. If that had been somebody else's song that Tom had no piece of, he could reference, it could reference Tom that directly, and he'd have been fine with it. But he's half owner of this song. He could not be that self-referential. I think that makes good sense. Let's see how Bradford pear and harmonicas get along. This is also known as a mustache groomer for any of you with facial hair. Don't try this unless you can handle a little pain. Are we in the same key? Close enough. It matters if the guitar and the harmonica are in the same key. I didn't realize that for the longest time. It's plumb embarrassing. I turned that corner and the whole world changed for me. Found myself someplace where I never dreamed I'd be. That moment forward, I have never once looked back. Now I need nothing but my thumb and my gunny sack. A lot of folks been rambling, gotta wonder where they've gone. And I feel like I want to ramble on. Try that chorus with me, would you? A lot of folks been rambling, gotta wonder where they've gone. And I feel like I want to ramble on. It's a folk song, you'll get more chances. The road was rocky, but it led right up the hill. So I went and climbed it, like I guess I always will. I saw another hill and one more after that. Every day is another underneath this rambling hat. A lot of folks been rambling, gotta wonder where they've gone, and I feel like I wanna ramble on. I got to California, it was time to turn around. All I have is time, can't help but wonder where I'm bound. I failed to win that woman, tried every way I could. She did me one last favor, put me on the road for good. A lot of folks been rambling, gotta wonder where they've gone, and I feel like I wanna ramble on. But I'm luckier than most. I've found what brings me joy. Cut Woody's trail a bunch of times, the original rambling boy. Don't look for me to settle, I'll be rambling till I'm dead. There's always one more corner up ahead. Here we go. A lot of folks been rambling, gotta wonder where they've gone, and I feel like I wanna ramble on. A lot of folks been rambling, gotta wonder where they've gone, and I feel like I wanna ramble on. I feel like I wanna ramble on. Thanks for helping sing that. Now, way back in the day, when Greenwich Village was the heart and soul of the folk music, the great folk music scare, exactly. Tom was living in a loft, cheap space there somewhere in Greenwich Village, and he had a roommate, Noel Paul Stuckey. That's Paul of Peter, Paul, and Mary. And apparently that was just when Peter, Paul, and Mary were getting started, and the only space any of them had large enough for rehearsals for a trio was the loft where Tom and Paul lived, or Noel he goes by now. And so they all got to know each other pretty well, and they wound up knowing a lot of Tom's songs, and they wound up cutting a lot of Tom's songs, which Tom was very glad about. But so Tom and I had written the verses and chorus of this song, and unbeknownst to me, he sent it off to Noel and said, "I think you'll like this song." And Noel wrote back and said, "I like it very much, but it needs a bridge." Something like this. So we modified Noel's bridge just a little bit, and now this is a three-way co-write of Daniel Boling, Tom Paxton, and Noel Paul Stuckey. God, that makes that difficult when you got to deal with the royalties. 3 songwriters, 3 publishing companies, 2 performing rights organizations. We used to jitterbug, and nowadays we don't. Our spirits are willing, our bodies just won't. Between us we may have a long list of faults, but thank heavens we can still waltz. Dancing with old folks brings back better days, days that seem long ago now. Moving together as the saxophone plays, back then everybody knew how. There are a few things you never forget. It's kinda like riding a bike. Each partner you met was the loveliest yet. We'd keep dancing as long as we liked. And we used to jitterbug, nowadays we don't. Our spirits are willing, our bodies just won't. Between us we may have a long list of faults, but thank heaven we can still waltz. A few times a year for a Saturday night, They hang up crepe paper and turn down the lights, move tables and chairs, set up the band. The music strikes up, we each take someone's hand. So many women and just a few men out on the dance floor tonight. But when they go spinning and spinning again, it's oh such a beautiful sight. And the boys in the band sure aren't boys anymore, but they're so glad to play the old tunes. And all of us dancers are filling the floor till it's time to go back to our rooms. But we used to jitterbug, nowadays we don't. Our spirits are willing, our bodies just won't. Between us we may have a long list of faults, but thank heaven we can still waltz. Thank heaven we can still waltz. Thank you very much. I don't know about you, I am always amazed at how quickly the time goes by in these things, but this is the last song for this set. Well, the last official song for this set. You guys can let me know about that. As soon as I remember, I got it. Someday, we will understand. Someday, we will understand. Just like that. Someday, we will understand. Someday, we will understand. When we give as much respect to teachers as to movie stars, when we spend as much on homeless shelters as on prison bars, when we see our fellow man in need and give him some of ours, someday, we will understand. Someday, we will understand. When every child has food enough and somewhere safe to sleep, and a kind and loving family teaching values he can keep. When in a land of plenty, no one's living on the street, someday, we will understand. Someday, we will understand. When humanity's diversity is a reason to rejoice, when the hopeless and forgotten finally have an equal voice, when basic human dignity is a birthright, not a choice, someday, we will understand. Someday, we will understand. Someday, we will understand. Someday, we will understand. Thank you very much, folks. I'm so glad you came out today. Thank you. I appreciated I appreciate that so much I'm going to do two. I'll do a sentimental one, and then I'll do a fun one to end things with. Thank you very much. And Julia and Randy. I tell you what, this age thing. Julia and Randy, it's so wonderful of you to host these. Randy, I know you created this space, and Julia takes it very seriously, getting good performers and wonderful audience and putting them together. It's a real gift. And that is the wrong song, because we already sang that one. Let me just say. You get tape loops, you know? And if you can't get to the right tape loop, it's a brand new song. That's the problem. Got it. Long ago, Lord, I know where my fondest of memories stray. Me at 3, by her knee, learning old songs I still sing today. I woke up to hear Mama's voice in my ear, yet her face is no place I can see. Mama left us here, it's been so many years since I woke up to hear Mama singing to me. There'd be snow on the ground, the world soft and white all around. All I knew the whole day through, Mama's voice and its comforting sound. I woke up to hear Mama's voice in my ear, yet her face is no place I can see. Mama left us here, it's been so many years since I woke up to hear Mama singing to me. These old songs keep her near and keep all of my memories clear. Did she know from the start? She taught me to sing with my heart. I woke up to hear Mama's voice in my ear, yet her face is no place I can see. Mama left us here, it's been so many years since I woke up to hear Mama singing to me. I woke up to hear Mama singing to me. It may have been in some of the bio that you read, or you may know me and know that I spent 30 years as a National Park Ranger, and then a Bureau of Land Management Ranger, and then a Bureau of BLM Special Agent. A couple of my co-workers and colleagues are here in the group tonight. Thank you very much for still sticking around even after you know all the horrible things I did. Sounds like it, doesn't it? One of the things that I learned in all those years out protecting our public lands was that people do dumb stuff. Some of them gleefully. And I decided that what they really needed was a posthumous anthem. And here it is. You went to the desert this weekend to practice with your new shotgun by blowing big holes in saguaro cactus. You thought it was lots of fun, and of course you were tweaking as usual, half out of your brain on meth. You put one too many rounds at the base of a big one. He fell on you and crushed you to death. Oh well, Darwin would have been so proud. Darwin would have been so proud. The way the fate shot you right out of the gene pool. Darwin would have been so proud. And you were lounging around in your lawn chair, wishing you knew how to fly. And suddenly you had a flash of brilliance, figured you should give it a try. A dozen large balloons full of helium lashed to that lawn chair tight. Next thing you knew, you were cruising above 10,000, watching 747s go by. Oh my, Darwin would have been so proud. Darwin would have been so proud. The way the fate plucked you right out of the gene pool. Darwin would have been so proud. If you're one of the many waiting in the shallow end, you don't need to worry about dying in obscurity, friend. But the competition is getting tough. Show some creativity. And remember, all awards are given posthumously. Can you tell my mother was an English teacher? The highway patrol found the wreckage burning at the base of the cliff, and 100 feet up, a smoking crater where they figured a small plane had hit. But from the huge spot scorched on the asphalt, 3 miles away, straight down the road, they finally pieced together quite a different story, and this is what the record showed. You were a surplus gadgetry junkie. That week you pulled off quite a coup. You found an unused solid fuel booster rocket. Figured it was made for you. You took your '67 Impala and welded that bad boy on top. Found a nice straight stretch of deserted highway and fired that sucker up. Wow, Darwin would have been so proud. Darwin would have been so proud. The way the fate blew you right out of the gene pool. Darwin would have been so proud. If you're one of the many waiting in the shallow end, you don't need to worry about dying in obscurity, friend. But the competition is getting tough. Show some creativity. And remember, all awards are given. You got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Darwin would have been so proud. Oh, Darwin would have been so proud. The way the fate blew you right out of the gene pool. Darwin would have been so proud. Thanks again. Thank y'all. And thanks to everybody out there on the internet. Let's do this again sometime. My mailing list's over here if you want to know when I'm coming through your area. And a lot of fun. Thank you.